Hey everyone, this is Andy Hall. Jack Maturko.
Hey Andy,
I'm a little jazzed up. I had my third cup of coffee just now, and I'm a little hyperverbal.
I'm on a slow decline towards bedtime because I've been running around like crazy getting this conference thing pulled off this weekend.
So Jack Maturko, satanic Satanist extraordinaire. What have you been up to? You've been doing all kinds of things.
I've been helping out backstage at the Satanic Estate for their World Conference on Moral Panics that's been going on all weekend. Still one day left if you want to go and snag a day pass for Monday.
So what are some of the highlights?
We have had a heck of a time over there.
I noticed that you didn't say we've had a hell of a time. I appreciate your restraint for crappy puns right there.
No, thank you. No, but it's been good. We had a bunch of great speakers talk about a whole wide range of satanic panic topics, all the weird psychology stuff, and even going back into historical stuff with like Carl Casarda from In Range. He gave a talk on the Native American witch hunts, which goes back into Southwest history. And today we had Eric Sprankle gave a great talk. Yeah. We had Evan Anderson, the director of Grey Faction, give a really good presentation. We had a thing from TST UK. They gave a talk about stuff that's going on in England. That's really neat. And then tomorrow we've got Stephen Bradford Long from Sacred Tension. We've talked to him before.
Yeah.
And we've got one of our friends, Hadrian Flight, is giving a big, long talk about the Taxol hoax, which is one of my favorite weird bits of late 18th century French Satan stuff. Yeah, it's going to be good. Oh, and ZK is giving a talk about witches and werewolves and werewolf trials in Europe, which were a thing.
You know, you hear a lot about the witch trials, but
that's going to be interesting too. Yeah, and then all this stuff, when we're done with the conference, is going to eventually make its way over to TST TV so people can watch it. But it's been great. People have been amazing.
I've never heard of a werewolf trial. How does a werewolf trial differ from a good old fashioned?
It's tomorrow. Go buy a ticket.
All right. I'll say hello to everyone in the chat. What's up, Tobin Templeman? Hope you're doing well this evening. And Blazing. Good morning. It's morning where you are. You're over in Denmark, I believe, Blazing. So good to see you. So yeah, I'm interested. I want to find out about the werewolf trial because that sounds like even crazier than a witch trial.
Well, that panel is tomorrow at 6:30 Eastern. So I think I can sneak in. If you're not.
Well, that sounds exciting. Well, Jack, you may not know this, but we have a guest tonight.
Yes, we do. Well, he's not on screen yet.
He's not on screen yet. He's a really funny guy. He is an exceptionally funny guy. And his name is Samuel Jacobs. He does a site called Religimarole. Look at you, Blazing. Blazing says I got him up at 4:30. I'm sorry. So what's up, Kendra? So Samuel's coming on. We're going to talk about comedy. We're going to talk about atheism. We're going to talk about his site, Religimarole. And it's going to be fascinating, and it's going to be fun, and I think it's going to be funny too, if I dare say so.
I'm all for funny because I've been doing serious stuff for 3 days straight. So.
Is this your reprieve here, Jack Maturko? Is this your reprieve from serious Satan stuff?
Yeah, it's also when I get to be on camera because I'm not presenting at any of this stuff. I'm just doing all the back end rigmarole. But
well, not to be confused with the Religimarole.
Not to be confused with the nice segue.
All right, I'm gonna bring in Samuel. Samuel Jacobs, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Well, you seem to be smiling, so I hope our particular brand of social awkwardness makes you happy and smile. It's good to see you here.
It's good to be here. It's good to see you guys too. I'm glad you segued with the rigmarole and realized that the portmanteau of the two words became the site name.
Indeed. So for people who aren't acquainted with your site, how do you describe it?
Well, it's funny because I just changed the tagline today on the site. It's news that's as real as your God. So it's a satire parody religious site, similar to what the Onion would do or Babylon Bee or something like that, but only caters to religious posts. I don't want to.
Right.
Like if there's sometimes there's political posts, but only if it has something to do with religion.
Right. Yeah, you have a pretty large Facebook group too.
Yeah. We just reached 20,000 members on the Facebook group. It's been around about a year, but slowly and steadily it's grown, and I'm very happy.
Right.
Yeah.
And how long has the site itself been up, Religimarole?
December 2019.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So year and a quarter, I guess. It struck me one day just to go, look, I'm reading all these Onion posts that were funny, the religious ones that were funny, but I'm like, I think I can be funnier. I think I can, these were kind of thrown out there, and I'm like, there's so much more to religion that you can make fun of. So, I think my first post was on the 9th of December, and it was about how a faith healing preacher breaks his leg at a revival and ends up having to be rushed to a second faith healing revival to fix his leg. So yeah.
I just read your post. Pentecostals flock to Pastor Toddler who only speaks in tongues.
So what I do is I find and there's a lot of ludicrous things about religion that you would just go, really? Like, really? And speaking in tongues is one of the things that is fascinating to me, that people would even believe something like that. And it's like, it's just baby talk. It sounds like baby talk. So of course, Pentecostals are going to flock to a baby who they think is speaking in tongues, because that's the thing. So
right. And of course, when he poos his pants, right? That just confirms
it's a religious experience.
Right, it's a religious experience.
Look what I got.
Look at you got a cat.
Yeah. This is Stevie.
Steve, very nice.
Yeah, she's being a pain.
She looks like a very happy cat.
Yeah, she's good. She's good. She's very cuddly.
Oh, very nice. What's up, B? I want to say hello to B in the chat. And Mice and everyone else. Hope you're all doing well this evening. We're actually completely divert into cats. My girlfriend and I are trying to adopt a cat right now, but during the apocalypse, during the pandemic, cats are going like hotcakes at local shelters here. It's very difficult to find one.
Lonely people need friends.
Well, that's good news, though. I would rather you not be able to get a cat because they're none available than you having your pick of cats from a shelter that nobody wants.
This is true. True.
So Stevie was actually a stray that we found on outside of our home. So we started to feed, and now she's ours.
Oh, that's great. That's a great story.
Yeah.
So in your time of doing satire on writing it, what have you discovered about either the form or about the business of writing or
well, professionally, I've been working in the film industry, which I'm slowly sort of getting out of just because of the pandemic, and the commercial industry. Commercials where my bread and butter was, but I found that the headline is everything. Like people don't even read the text. I could literally just copy and paste from Wikipedia and nobody would know or care. There'd be like 3 people that went, "This is from Wikipedia." And I'd be like, yeah, it is. But nobody knows. They just read the headlines.
I've done the same thing on my own blog, Laughing in Disbelief. What I would do every once in a while, I'll write, the headline and then an introductory paragraph. And in the middle, I'd write in, "I know no one reads the middle." Yeah. If you do read the middle, can you just write that? Can you just and then I'll say a code word, can you just write this code word in the comments so I know someone's reading the middle?
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. And one of the things, it's funny because people will screenshot the site for only the headline and the picture, and then that's it. So no credit, no nothing, just, hey, look what I found, and then put it up, and then it gets passed around, and it's like, oh, just at least send people to the site. At least do something, right?
That's usually somebody who wants to pass it off as not satire, who they're trying to obfuscate the fact that it's a joke, and they're in some weird cult forum and they post it and they're just like, but look at this, see how terrible things are,
Well, half the fun of the blog is writing something that is so ludicrous yet could be believable to someone like, oh, evangelical Christians, of course they do that. And the thing that one comes to mind is like the protest outside of reality conversion centers, which are libraries. And it's just like, we want to shut down reality conversion centers. So it's like, did this really happen? Was there really a protest? So yeah, it's very, right. It's funny when people actually, because they don't click in, they see the headline, they think it's, and when I post to Facebook, I always hashtag it with satire, just because Facebook will go, no, this is misconstrued, or this is whatever. And I don't want to fool people. I want people to look at it and go, that's kind of funny, right?
Right.
But when they repost it, they don't put the satires tag. They don't do that. So it'll go around, and sometimes it becomes viral. There was one that went viral about that they give you the fake $20 bill. That you open it up and it's a passage from the Bible or whatever. So I did one where it was a fake $20 bill and you open it up and it teaches you about evolution. And it's just like people keep dropping these into the collection plates at churches. And it's just like, you got to stop. So, it got passed around like, oh, look what atheists are doing. It's like, no, we don't really do that. But
that's brilliant, though. That is a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
To do on a Sunday morning.
Yeah. So, but that's the thing is you would have to go and sit in church and then wait for the collection plate to pass around, which is at the end, and I'm sure, and then drop this thing in here, and then not even see people's reaction, because the reaction is later when they're counting the dough in the back with the with the half brimmed hat with the green tint to it, and it's just, oh, Jimmy, what did we score today? And
and I'm just not that invested in this movement to sit
in
church every Sunday to pull that prank.
I literally would have to volunteer at the church, become trusted to be able to count the money, and then wait for it to come in and then watch their reaction. So yeah, too much investment. I don't want to do that.
Right. I can definitely see that. Well, congratulations on having one of your posts go viral.
Oh, thanks. Thank you very much.
Sure. So what kind of TV were you doing? Commercials, pretty much, in terms of TV?
So yeah, that was bread and butter. I've put a couple of movies out, a couple of features, a low budget, nothing features, but the whole thing started when I decided to do the satire site, the parody site. Was I wanted to build an audience because I wanted to make an atheist movie.
Oh,
and from just if I managed to get on the blog, so the blog has probably seen a few million people on it already, and
that's good. Those are good numbers for a new blog.
Yeah. And mostly because of the ones that went viral, but the more you build up your audience, then you can start asking them for things, right? Because they trust you. They're there. They're like, oh, look, he gives me entertainment, and he's trying to, like you saw. There's the book. I don't believe in fairy tales, which is basically just a book saying, look, I don't believe in fairy tales. These are fairy tales, and religion is an adult fairy tale. But but it's all in response to the movie God is Not Dead.
Oh yeah.
And how they're all, no, this is the atheist nightmare. This is the, you can't answer. So it's just like, and I used to live in, I'm in Canada now. I'm just north of Toronto, but I used to live in Southern California for 8 years, and actually met with the producers of God is Not Dead. And because I was going to pitch them something. They wanted to do a bunch of family friendly stuff, but not have a religious tone to it. And so I went to pitch them, and they're great guys. They're really nice guys. Mm-hmm. But one of them had said to me that he absolutely knew that in the next month he was going to get an influx of $500 million, and they were going to do like 10 movies. 10 really, really great movies. And this was, of course, 5 years ago, and it just never happened. Right. And and they're literally just these God is not dead movies, right?
The only place that you'll hear more lies than in church is in LA.
Oh no, of course. So now imagine these people who are absolute devout believers and thinking that they're going to get this money because it's God sent. And that they were ready to go ahead with my children's movie. I wrote a children's movie that they loved, that they were like, this is great. And I had never heard from them again, even though I knew their line producer. So I'd see their line producers every so often. And he would give me they're working on this, or, they're working on this. And so I'm like, Chris, I get it. I know. Don't worry about it. So I was writing an atheist movie that was sort of I guess a movie response to God is Not Dead, which is basically about a high school girl who she's Christian, but gets paired up with a bunch of atheists for a debate class, and they have to debate the existence of God. And she's now for the negative of God. She has to prove that, God doesn't exist type thing. So the atheists are with her, and they just say, hey, look, this is the thing. And they sort of befriend her and teach her. And, of course, there's a little bit of a love triangle there. And, it ends up that through her debate study, she realizes that she's actually an atheist. And at the debate at the end, even though she's proven the point, or they haven't proven their point, and she's sort of knocked it down because the school is a little bit religious school, she loses the debate anyway. So it's one of those. And then of course it's the big to do. It's like that courtroom battle at the end of, Accepted or whatever, that sort of thing.
You need like an 80s movie montage, like a musical montage in there where she's ripping down pictures of Kirk Cameron in her room. And
So I've actually, it's funny because somebody had said to me once, would I direct or would I write a Christian-based movie or a faith-based movie? And I'm like, sure, of course. Why would I not? Do you think that people have any trepidation by writing the Thor movie or, anything like that? It's fantasy to me, right? Like I get what people love about, their religion and things like that. All I have to do is pull those strings and it's good. And we're good to go. Right. I don't need to be a believer. I just need to know that I'm coming across as genuine to you. And I don't see why I wouldn't.
Well, a couple of things. One, the movie that you just talked about, the movie in your mind, it sounds like a movie that can be easily done on a low budget.
Of course. No, absolutely. And it was written for that, just to be done for $1 million or a couple of $1 million. It's sort of inspired of the Aquila and the Bee sort of, size of movie. So,
right. Yeah. We've had a couple of people come through here, independent movie makers, and they've been able, I've seen some pretty remarkable pieces of work for low budget, for very low budgets.
It's all storytelling, right? If you can tell a story or if you can get your point across, and it's formulaic. It's a little formulaic, you just, in the script when to go, oh, this guy's in trouble here. So, and people, and you're good.
It is. It is remarkable about how a lot of it is just like building an erector set or just plugging in. This is the
Sure.
plot point. I'm going to plug this in here. Here's another plot point. I know what has to happen over here, so I'm going to do this.
Which is why character is so important.
Yes. So, and if you do it well, it's all seamless.
Yes.
And if there's anything like magic in this world, that would be storytelling done well.
Sure. And it's funny. I was chatting with my friend last night. He had decided to watch Captain America: Civil War because he had just watched the latest Falcon and the Snowman, or the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Snowman. I like
Falcon and the Snowman is like an 80s
reference.
reference.
Snowman and the Hawk, Hawkman going around. I think that would be a pretty cool mashup too.
So I don't know if Falcon and the Snowman is an 80s movie with like I can't remember who's in it, but yeah, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and they referenced the movie, and he's like, I don't remember this. So he was watching it, whereas I watched the 1978 Superman this weekend, which is absolutely amazing. Just if you have a younger crowd or whoever's watching or whatever, and they haven't seen the 1978 Superman with Christopher Reeve and Gene Hackman and just Margot Kidder and just these absolutely, but the storytelling in it is just absolutely sublime. And I was watching with my wife, I guess, who was on Instagram or doing whatever at the time, and 48 minutes had passed before we even saw Superman.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you can make a movie like that today. They kept me 48 minutes and not even show Superman. I was like,
and that's the thing. Before you can make a good point that before 1999, when The Matrix came out, it was very difficult to do superhero movies well because of the special effects issue. But with Superman, oh my God, oh my fictitious God, that wonderful John Williams soundtrack, the characters.
Just Gene Hackman alone is enough to make it just you melt into your. I was watching it in bed, and I melt in the bed because I'm watching Gene Hackman and Ned Beatty as this sort of vaudevillian duo of evil. It's like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. This is so great. You don't see that. You don't see that anymore.
You don't, and the thing is too is that the point about characters, if you really do character well, then people are going to forgive things like Superman. And I know this is going to be I'm going to be revealing a bit about the movie here, but it was made in 1978. You can forgive the spoilers, right? You can forgive the idea of Superman going back in time by rotating the Earth in the wrong direction. You're like, all right. The rest of the movie, I really love the characters. I'm going to forgive this part that doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Sure. Yeah.
Wasn't there? Who was it? There was some comedian at some point who remarked on that and just like, yeah, it looks really good on screen, but if you saw it like in the park, you just see a guy doing a handstand.
Yeah. Well, he flew around the world to change the direction. And then had to slow it down by flying back, but and then knew exactly how the speed it needed to go.
Of course, because he's Superman.
Yeah, but I guess if he's moving the Earth, he would be doing a handstand in the park. Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, I would do a Superman movie. Superman is is fantasy. Thor is fantasy and a god. Why would I not do a religious movie? And make an audience happy. That's what I want to do. Make my audience happy. I've directed commercials where I don't believe in the product. I'm not so.
Well, it must be a nice feeling to do good work like you do on Religimarole for something that you believe in, that it isn't just a paycheck. That's something that you believe in.
Well, it feels great when there's a response there and you realize that people have accepted it and are enjoying it. The paycheck could be nicer. the when you're when you put a lot of effort and time into something and it's a passion thing, but monetarily it's just not there. And the rest of your day is dealing with the miasma of life for those few minutes where hey, I'm going to write this blog post. Like I just released one today, a Muslim post that says because Prince died, Muslims are upset because there's not 72 virgins in heaven anymore because it's Prince.
Do you want to read that one? Do you want to read that one? I don't know if you feel comfortable about reading any of your bits.
Sure. I'll read it. Give me a second here.
Sure. Take your time.
Let me just get to the. All right. Now the prince has died, Muslims unable to find 72 virgins in heaven. It used to be easy. It used to be so easy for newly deceased Muslim to reap their heavenly benefits when they get to Jannah, but because there would be 72 virgins waiting for them for an eternity of intercourse. It's no secret that Prince was indeed a mighty lover, but now his legacy is continuing beyond the grave. All of the 72 virgins that were promised to Muslim men in the afterlife are now unavailable because they could not resist Prince. The Sunni Hadith scholar Tirmidhi quotes the Prophet Muhammad as having said, "The smallest reward for people of heaven is an abode where there are 80,000 servants and 72 uri, over which stand a dome decorated with pearls, aquamarine, and ruby, as wide as the distance of the Al-Jibiyah to Sana," which is where they get that 72 virgins quote from, or that notion from. Well, they're just going to have to find something else, Muslim scholar Shmuel Rosenblatt professed. There are no virgins left. Maybe they can get something else like a fuel-efficient car or a nice piece of chicken. Muslim males are furious at the notion that they followed the Quran all this time to get the reward in heaven, even though it would probably be easier just to have sex with 72 virgins on earth.
Very nice. Funny stuff.
I like to keep it short, just a minute or two to read, and you're good, and you move on.
Indeed,
I think there's some 200 posts there now.
That's impressive.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Since December?
I'm sorry? Since December last year or the year before. So just over a year.
Right.
There's a couple of Satan ones as well.
Oh, hey.
Sure there are.
Just
Satan
saying.
sells.
A couple of Satan ones. One was Baphomet's cream cheese. This is a goat, right? So it's there's a goat cheese thing. So it's so
cheese. I like that. So
yeah.
Did you grow up in a religious home?
I didn't. I've probably been an atheist since I've been about 9.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just. So my family is Jewish, and we had lived with a family who was Christian. So there was a Christmas that was happening at the house, and we never really did any of the Jewish ritual things. Sometimes we did them when we went to my grandmother's and things like that, but for the most part, we weren't religious. And the notion of Santa Claus just didn't sit with me. It was just I just never believed it. Just oh yeah, there's this guy that comes and gives you gifts once a year, and it's like, really, even as a young kid, I couldn't buy it. And then you would hear about people in church or people in this, and I was just it just seemed incredulous to me. So yeah, by the time I was 13, ready to be bar mitzvahed, I was like, do I really need to do this just because I'm not? But they forced me to do it, and I read it phonetically. I didn't learn any Hebrew or anything, and got my $300 and from my family, and everything was great. That
happens a lot. People getting bribed to go through these rituals. My girlfriend, who was brought up Catholic, her parents paid her off to go through confirmation. That's it. They greased the palm a little bit, gave her some cash just so that she would go through the process.
It's interesting that how important this is to people. Just it floors me. It floors me that they spend so much of their time, effort, life, mental power just thinking through this stuff, just believing it without any sort of evidence whatsoever. And a lot of it is, look, it's funny because I just befriended an ex-Muslim, and we've been chatting, and he's been literally an atheist for a month. So the first thing I did was told him to go eat some bacon, just because it's like, all this time you've never experienced this. This is what well, pigs are unclean. It's like, nope, it's bullshit. They're delicious. Go have some ribs, go have some bacon. You need to experience a secular life now, and this is very important to secular life. And so he's like, okay, I'll try this and I'll do this. And I'm telling him everything to do that he just is not, just like his religion would say no to. I told him to masturbate. I told him to I told him to go and chat up women and just whatever he needs to do, right? And he was like, well, I'm not really, well versed in talking with women, just because he doesn't have the social interaction. I'm like, go on a dating site, tell them truthfully exactly what's happening, and you just want to get to know people, just like you did me, and in the Facebook group, my Facebook group. Just go talk to people. Just be truthful. And he's like, this is so great. But then I said to him, it's like, look, you've spent all your life in a religion, and I'm sure there are things you like about that religion, right? Like my brother, who's also an atheist, loves the Friday night dinners, the Shabbat dinners. So family comes over and they order a certain food and everyone sits around. It's not kosher. It's not this. There are no prayers said, or not really. Candles are lit because they like the candles. But it's like, he loves doing it, and he loves having family over. So I said, look, if there's a circumstance or a situation where you like doing something, you really love doing something with your family or whatever, like, you can still do it. It's okay. Yeah. Like who cares? You just don't believe in a God. Doesn't mean you can't go and enjoy your family or your friends or whatever. So he was very relieved to hear that he didn't have to cut everything off, that it's, that atheists aren't these, evil people that hate religious people. It's like, no, we get it. We get it. You've lived your life like this. What can we expect?
Yeah. I've been an atheist for a long time, and we still put up a Christmas tree, a Christmas tree, holiday use, whatever it is. We put one up around the solstice, Of course, this year was more of a goth tree. It was kind of like we just had a Halloween tree that we ordered specifically from Etsy and put Christmas decorations on it. But besides that, there was a tree up.
My wife, who's now an atheist, when I married her, she was Christian, or when we started dating, she was Christian, and now has become an atheist. But we put up a tree every year. And because I've never had that experience with Christmas, because, it's a Jewish family, and the only Christmas that I would have seen was, there was that family that lived with us, but I was really young, so I didn't even really experience it. Was her. So she's been teaching me about, well, we do this on Christmas, or stockings on Christmas, or this, you got to put an orange in there. And I'm like, I don't get that. I don't understand. And she's like, oh, it's a tradition. So I had said to her, it's like, all right, well, I'm going to be involved in this now. Right.
Right.
I'm going to be, so if I'm going to be involved in this, we have to make it partial me. We have to now, do some things that I want to do for Christmas, and not just, let's go to dollar store and buy these really plastic Santa pictures and things like that. Right. Let's make it interesting. Let's make it fun. So, the last few years we've been collecting famous Christmas movie posters.
Oh, wow. That's nice.
Right? Yeah. So we would put these really, really classic movie posters up all around, and which would be these Christmas decorations. So you'd see White Christmas, or you would see, Miracle on 34th Street, or whatever. Yeah. Whereas I've also grew up with those, right? And I remember those, and I like those, and Christmas Carol and all that sort of stuff, Alistair Sims, and, So she's like, wow, this is an element of Christmas that I've never experienced. It's always just been decorations, right? You know what I mean? It's like ornaments mean something, or the angel means something to her. And I'm like, well, but now we're making it festive, so it's us, right? So this is
I am curious about the Christmas orange. Is that to fight the Christmas scurvy?
I think that's originally what it was for. Yeah. And well, she grew up, and they would put like sort of utilitarian things in the stocking. So it's like, all right, well, here's your orange. Here's batteries for the smoke detector. here's different sporks that you can use for your lunches, just sort of these things that they would put in their stockings that were, and then there would be one or two things that were like, all right, here's your lifesaver book of candy and a small toy or something like that. But that was just the stocking. And then they would get all their gifts. Right.
Right.
So my gifts were like, for Hanukkah, crap gifts. It's like first day of Hanukkah, you get like a lottery ticket for one of the days during Hanukkah. so hopefully like it would hit and you would actually have a real present on Hanukkah. It's like, here, first day, here's your lottery ticket. And then by the fifth day, it's like $10. So, it was horrible. And then but Hanukkah's not a big deal holiday to Jewish people. They've just made it a big deal because of Christmas.
Sure. Yeah. That's how I understand it too, is that Christmas is there. And so, there's this Hanukkah holiday about the lamps and the oil and everything. And so we'll just make that a thing too. Yeah.
So just to sort of circle back to Religimarole, I had just decided today, and partially because of this broadcast here, to try to put Religimarole on YouTube, just sort of to do a fake mock news channel and just sort of read it as the news and do some graphics in it, because I have the equipment or the experience. I might as well do it and try to build it that way. Maybe.
I saw a couple of the videos too, to tell you the truth, because I actually do research. I do research about the guests before they come on, and so I did take a look.
The videos are just those Instagram videos, those silent, 3 or 4 text cards and a couple of videos.
I have to tell you, the video that went viral for me that got over 340,000 views was something I just cobbled together within 10 minutes, maybe. And it was one of the vertical shorts that are big now on YouTube, that are similar, what you find on TikTok or Instagram. And yes, something I just put together in 10 minutes. It just resonated with people. And I don't understand how things go viral. There's just like this magical algorithm out there. And but sometimes it's the stuff that you put a lot of effort in and you don't get any traction for it.
Yeah, don't I know that?
He
says as he's made 2 movies that nobody has seen. Yeah, don't I know that?
So what were the movies that you made? What were the 2 movies?
So you can probably see them on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
One is called Vitals, which is basically a man wakes up in a motel room in India in a tub of ice, and he's missing his kidney. And he doesn't know how he got there or why he's there, but all he knows is that he's taken a vacation with his wife to work on their failed marriage, their troubled marriage. And he soon realizes that she's been captured and is in the motel room next door. And they have to put every problem aside and work together to try to find a way to escape before the organ harvesters return, finish the job.
Well, that's a great premise.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. Vitals.
Yeah. And what about the second movie?
It's called The Vampire Conspiracy.
I love vampires.
Yeah. No,
I gotta
if you watch it, you have to sort of forgive the production value. It was made for like 10 grand in 2004. And yeah, and the story is actually really, really kind of neat. These 5 people are thrown together into a maze, and they're being hunted by this vampire and its horde. What we don't realize is that there's an outside event that they're all involved with each other. They're linked to each other through this outside event. And as soon as they realize what that event is, everything starts to break down within their little group. And now they don't know who to fear more, each other or the vampires hunting them.
Interesting.
But it's a low budget thing. So look beyond the production value, watch it for the story, and you'll probably really enjoy it.
Cool. Yeah. I'm a big fan of horror, big fan of vampires, and if I can find them, I'll take a look at them.
So,
but I know you can see Vitals on Amazon Prime.
I appreciate a lot of what goes on in the low budget space. There's a cheerful hacker sloppiness to it, of throwing stuff to get, like working with what you can.
Sure, there is, and it's funny because some of my favorite directors out there, you can tell that they've lost their passion when they get money to do a film, right? So when you see, it's like, who's a good example? We'll say Christopher Nolan, right? So I've just seen Tenet, and I enjoyed it, a lot of it because of what he's trying to do with it. But you can tell that, his earlier films like Insomnia, where after watching the film, I felt like I hadn't slept for 3 days because of how he filmed this and what we're experiencing. So, and he did that for, I don't know, 10 million or $5 million or whatever, or the what was the one where it was out of sync? The with Guy Pearce.
I'm not sure.
Is there no one in the chat that can help?
I don't think so. No. Yeah. You know who I really like is I've only seen 2 of his movies. Ari Aster, Midsummer, and Hereditary. And
sure.
I'll never look at jazz hands the same way again. And oh my fictitious God, even just the thought of a treehouse just freaked me out for days afterwards. After seeing Hereditary. Yeah.
I haven't seen Midsummer Night yet.
Midsummer, dude, it is a visually stunning movie. Yeah,
but I loved Hereditary. I thought it was great.
Hereditary is an intimate movie that gets under your skin, while Midsummer is more of a sociological movie. I'm not saying anything that people haven't already written about the flicks, but yeah, very great stuff. And I think he's doing a movie about the myth of the Green Knight too, from the Arthurian legends too.
Oh, cool. So now imagine this guy getting $200 million to make a film.
Yeah,
and has to use that money, otherwise he's not going to get that money again. You know what I mean? Like that's the and now he's there. It's like, all right, well let's shoot it in space. Let's do this. Let's try to figure this out. And it just becomes, you can see that they're slowly dying inside because now they can do everything they want and not have to be creative.
And to tell you the truth, it is a problem of scaling up. Just because you can do something on a smaller scale beautifully doesn't mean you have the same skill set to be able to scale up to that kind of insane level.
Sure.
This isn't just for artists either. You can see, being a military geek, not a geek, but I know something, whether you're talking about Rommel in North Africa or Napoleon, just because you're good at doing a certain thing with a certain number of people underneath you doesn't mean that you can suddenly basically lead an army, whether it's an army of cinematographers and editors and actors. Yeah.
Well, it becomes so big that you fall within the Sun Tzu's art of war. You trust your generals to do their job, right? And if you don't trust their generals to do their job, well, then you lose out. Then you create crap. And then there are people who micromanage everything, and it just falls apart. The movie just doesn't. Is not cohesive. It's just not there anymore. And when you get someone like Peter Jackson, who has worked with the same people since Bad Taste, right? Since his first really low budget crap film that he made for $50, but it's the same people, and they know who he is, and they know each other, and everything is always cohesive with them. Yeah. That you can watch something like The Frighteners, you can watch something like even as King Kong, and you just know that these are people who are so in sync with each other that it just works well, and you appreciate that.
And don't you think that there are some artists who just achieve a level of fame and notoriety and wealth, and they know they can just call it in?
Well, yes, no, absolutely. It's the speaking of Superman 1978. So Marlon Brando, right, who was the guy. You can see part of him calling it in. He's still very good. He's still amazing, and at the time he was the highest paid actor in the world. I think he made like $8 million for 8 minutes of screen time or something like that. It was like $1 million a minute. And but he was very good. It was just one of those, he's just not connected. There's just not, his planet's going to explode in 30 days. And he's like, yeah, let's just throw our kid into the space, he's still very good, it's just one of those compared to everything else in the movie, which is just brilliant. He's just very good.
Right.
And you see that.
So a person who's been in the creative arts for as long as you have, how do you keep your edge?
Well, I'm probably going to get out of the film industry just because COVID I'm in Canada now. I've moved back to Canada, and COVID has just sort of destroyed a lot of things, and any momentum that I had on something, I've lost now. I've branched off. I'm going to launch a customized children's book site. So you've seen those where you can put your kid's name on children's books.
Sure.
The difference is between my site and the other sites is a lot of the other sites only cater to up to a certain age, up to like 3 or 4, and they don't have the diversity of kids. So there'll be like 10 kids to choose from, and you got to choose something that kind of looks like your kid. And if you have a parent, the parents, older people never look alike. You couldn't take 10 people and go, all right, here's a 10 person sample of the population. So I'm actually sort of now taking that concept, putting kids into it, almost like Bugs Bunny cartoon, or like just sort of like you're watching SpongeBob or you're watching whatever, where you're the character in this adventure, right? So if one day there's a shrinking ray and you shrink down to the size of a mouse and you got to do something, that's the book, right? Or another day if there's pirate treasure or whatever, right? That's what kids really enjoy. They want to use their imaginations, not the fact that, all right, you love mommy loves you, that's great. Just, and have fun with it and enjoy it. And life should be fun and entertaining, right? So I've been putting that together. I've been, another difference is I'm offering a subscription series. So you get a book a month, where your kid is interwoven through 12 books, as opposed to I can go buy this book and then buy this book, which has nothing to do with each other and don't even look like each other. And it just seems like it's another book. So this way, at least the kid is the star of a series of books. And as you get older, the books graduate. you get by the time you reach 8 or 9, you can get comic books now, right? So
Right.
the same thing, just now a comic book where you're the hero of a comic book, right? And or a mystery book or like an Archie kind of book, that sort of thing. So so I'm putting that together, and hopefully I'll be able to launch by the end of the summer.
Sounds like a good marketing plan. I mean, if you get someone invested in 12 books for 12 months, a book a month for a period of time, that's
well, that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
It's look, realistically, grandparents or parents or even aunts or uncles have no problem shelling out $100 for a kid or $200 or whatever, right? So depending on your budget level, you can get the hardcover book, which is $40 a book. You can get the soft cover book, which is like $25 a book, or you can get the ebook, which is $15 a book, right? So they can get it right on their iPad and read it on their iPad, and it's there. And if they're done the subscription series, there's a couple. One is a medieval one is a space one. So when they're done the subscription series, they can go into the other books, which are 26 other books, which are various fun things that kids can do, right? Like
Right.
one is the kid finds a time machine and ends up in dinosaur time, right? Prehistoric time. So now he gets to see all these dinosaurs that they love, right?
Right.
I say
right.
he, but it's male and female. Any kid, yeah.
So
as well, they're all done so that any of the kid could be, well, obviously ethnicity is not an issue, any ethnicity, but also kids with disabilities. So if you're in a wheelchair, every book caters to a kid who could just be in a wheelchair, right?
It's funny because I have kids, and when they were smaller, we were watching Sesame Street together, and it seemed like the high point of integrating kids with disabilities seemed to be in the 90s. Like if you're watching old school Sesame Street, it's like, oh look, there's a child with a disability, and they're making accommodations. And like I said, I think that was the high point, and didn't really see as much on Sesame Street, at least after that. That was just my observation.
My Mac says it's gonna. I'm losing power here. Hold on.
Okay, sure. That's happened to me before. As people who've been on this channel and seen me in the morning frantically start messing around with wires,
right?
Because sometimes I connect my my power source is this blue cube that I plug things into, and sometimes I don't turn that blue cube on. And even though it's plugged in, it's not charging.
Sure. Oh, it's because I have Photoshop open, of course. Photoshop eats.
Especially since they went to the whole cloud subscription model. Always doing something in the background.
Yeah. Although, since it's gone to the cloud subscription model, I must say I prefer it so much better. I don't have to pay for upgrades. I don't have to buy a new version at, so much. Wrong cord. Thank you. My wife just is like, oh, I'm gonna help out and give him a cord. And
Simply Dave from the chat goes, ABC, always be cabling. Indeed, Dave.
I am plugged in. I don't know why.
And you're just seeing the power bar just going slowly down.
Well, it just gave me a notice saying I have low battery.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Well, luckily we're almost getting to the end of the hour.
I've had situations when I'm streaming and using up a lot of memory where it drains faster than it recharges. It happens.
It happens. I can open. I have 2 laptops. I can open the other laptop if that's really.
So, though I know that you have a kid's book out right now about atheism. Is it? You want to talk about that a bit?
Yeah, it's called "I Don't Believe in Fairy Tales," and it's a rhyming book, and it's for younger kids. It was inspired because I have a friend who has 2 kids who are younger, and he's trying to explain atheism to them. But the mom, of course, is Christian and wants the Christian and the thing like that. So it's literally just a book that's, I don't believe in fairy tales is told to me by friends, and it goes into the normal fairy tales that you would normally hear. And then I don't believe in fairy tales is told to me by adults, and it would go into the adult fairy tales, which is religious based, or it's mostly Christian based in this one.
Right.
And how it's, there are things that are just unbelievable in these adult books, just like in children's books. And that, just sort of be careful in what people tell you, right? And what they want you to believe.
Indeed. So, because sometimes that witch in the gingerbread house is actually Jesus.
Because sometimes that witch is Jesus, the Jesus witch.
The Jesus witch.
That's funny.
Well, thank you. I make attempts at humor every once in a while, Sam. So we're getting down to the end of the hour. So is there a question you wanted us to ask you, but we didn't get around to? Not about plugs where people can find you online, but was there something you wanted to talk about that we just didn't get around to?
I don't think so. I think I just had fun shooting the shit.
That's great. That's what we're here for. Fun and crap.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually went into a lot of stuff I didn't expect to go into. So that was, just my movie stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's great.
Well, where can people find you online, sir?
Well, there's the Facebook group Religimarole, right?
Yeah.
So if you look for the Religimarole on Facebook, you can find it. Of course, religimarole.com is the blog. And Samuel Jacobs on Facebook as well.
Religimarole, the Facebook group, hilarious. I'm part of it.
If you're looking for Samuel Jacobs on Facebook, the picture is this evil piece of paper smothering a rock. So, so that's how you would identify me.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So, Jack, what do you have coming up, sir?
I'm taking the better part of this week off because
good for you, Jack.
Just a 4-day convention, so
right.
I get the
You're
rest
man behind the scenes.
What was that about behind the scenes?
You're the man behind the scenes over in Big Satan.
Yeah, I'm pulling all kinds of levers and wires and making this house work right. So not just me. We got developers and project managers and all kinds of other stuff. I'm just the guy pushing buttons and making all the computers hold together. So,
well, that seems like an important job.
It seems to have worked. So I'm pleased how that's gone. I've also got several episodes of my TST TV show in the can that I have to get around to editing and getting over to them so they can post them.
Right.
What is that?
I do an interview show over there called An Ongoing and Necessary Pursuit. Andy's actually going to be a guest this season. He's been on before, but I'm changing the format. I'm shooting it all kind of like PBS Frontline interviews. So it's not back and forth. It's just the one camera on the guest, plain as heck. Maybe blur the background, get a good light, so it's I'm just going to let the guests talk for as long as they want about whatever they want kind of jam. Nice. And it's turning out good. So I'm happy to start doing those again.
Guests appreciate that. I have to say, Andy, you have this Matthew Modine thing happening.
Oh, why? Thank you.
I always say Barry Bostwick.
Yeah, like younger Barry.
I am commonly mistaken as a Republican. I'll take any, I'm happy to be considered to be anything not Republican, to tell you the truth. Yes.
I think Matthew Modine's a Republican. So.
Well, like a Republican. Just look like a Republican.
Does he not look like Matthew Modine?
Maybe I do. I don't know. So, everyone, tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Eastern time, I'm talking with Jonathan M.S. Pierce, completely switching gears. We're talking about his newest book about debunking the resurrection, not Lazarus's resurrection, but JC, Jesus Christ. He wrote a book. I read it. We're going to be talking for an hour about how the resurrection of Christ, it's just a bunch of bunk.
Another zombie book from Jono.
Another zombie book, exactly. So pop, and of course I'm doing the regular Disappointed Cat morning show at 9 a.m. too. But if you want to pop in at 7 a.m., we're rolling live if you have questions for Jono about the resurrection.
That sounds great.
And on that note, Samuel, thanks again. Everyone in the chat.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, dude, always willing. You know, if you got something new, if you got a new project, feel free to contact me. We're here all the time, or I'm here all the time.
Great. And it's been very nice meeting you guys.
So nice meeting you too.
And I've been doing some research on yours, and I was listening to a few of your things. I look forward to hearing more. Oh, well, that's very nice. The check is in the mail, sir. Nice. Hey, $10 is $10.
That's right. That's a lot of internet money. $10. All right. I've been hitting the end broadcast. Take care, everyone. Have a good night.